Well, well, well. I decided to do another secret stream. Probably won't be able to do as many of these as often in the future. We'll have to see. Got some interesting stuff going on with work and the like. So today we're going to be playing a game called Mountain Blade Bannerlord. It's the sequel to the Mountain Blade games that came before it. I'm a little hesitant to say it's the sequel to the first game because I think there were multiple iterations of it. Mountain Blade Warband is the best known precursor to this one. No, I'm not going to be running a character from scratch. There's a guy I've been playing off and on my own, and I thought I'd just play a little bit of him while I had the time. To be honest, I wanted to test my new microphone that I got. I thought running it through OBS would be a good way to do that. Helps me learn how to use some of my physical and digital hardware, so I'm going to give a few minutes. Take a little bit of time. Try to put a timestamp on the video. Sorry about that. Hear me screwing open my water bottle, it seems. Hey, hey. I'm testing out the new mic. See how this goes. Running it through OBS is a bit different than just recording it with Audacity, so I thought I'd give it a little bit of a try just to see how it goes. Balancing it was kind of weird because you kind of have to play this balancing act with your audio box and your actual program. But anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to play this game. So, God damn it. All right, hold on. I should be able to fix this. Give me a second. Ah, okay. Oh, oh. All right. That, I think, fixed it. Kind of over proportionally blew it up at first. Better? Yeah. Let's try setting it down to this. I need to check the compressor. And thanks for being patient. Using the new microphone means I get to mess with all the settings I set and then forgot. Once I get this fixed, we'll get into the game. All right. Um, okay, that's going up to yellow levels. Does that sound about right? No peaking or anything? Okay. Now we get to have the fun time of balancing it with the game. So, all right. How's the sound compared to the voice? It's a little hard for me to tell. Okay. Let's load in and see what happens. I can see that it's feeding some sound in, but to be fair, it's just the background music. Okay. Okay. I can boost the game a little bit. I'm going to try boosting it by... do this in percentages. By about 20%. That sounds like. You hear the music? Once we get this ironed out, I'll begin playing. I'll give you a little bit of the backstory of this fine young man that I'm playing. I'll let you know what we're up to. Boost this up to 160%. All right. Let's get started. I'm just going to assume that you can hear the game. If you can't, yell at me in chat. So, we're playing a Nord. Started out on the sandbox. I'm only playing with one mod installed currently, and that would be a mod called Forberry, which allows you to do some extra stuff related to crime. That's specifically for the purposes of being able to ally with bandit factions. So this guy's a sea raider, basically. So he doesn't align himself with a kingdom as much as he and his clan make their living off of raiding in Vlandia. He originally found his work as a mercenary in service to the kingdom, the Nords. Nords are the northern kingdoms, denoted by this color here. And originally he did mercenary work for them against the kingdom of Vlandia. Eventually that war stopped, and he kept on. 1 second, let me adjust this music audio. Eventually, he took to raiding on his own. And as you can see, since they're colored in red, we are still at war with Vlandia. Mainly been focusing on the coastlines over here and along the rivers. And as you can see, Provend is a shithole. And that's because our main man Torvig here has been turning the entire peninsula into a shithole. As you can see, we're pretty far along and we're pretty wealthy at this point. So he's making a lot of money by, I guess I should explain like how he gets his, how he makes his fortune. So raiding doesn't just involve looting. It also involves capturing as many prisoners as possible and using them in the mines. As you can see, he's making a ton of money because he's captured a lot of people and fought many people. As you can see from his stats, his battle stats are pretty high, as well as his mariner stats, which shows kind of how we're planning on attacking it. So the Vlandians are strong. They tend to actually be one of the strongest kingdoms in the game, especially if you let them just kind of do their thing, because they just have a lot of villages. They eat the Battanians, and oftentimes also parts of the Western Empire down here. And then they just snowball out of control because of their economy, and they just have a bunch of doom stacks of tons of soldiers. But the way that we've been able to fight them, even with less numbers, is by making sure that we fight them along the coasts, and that we fight them on our own terms. So we don't ever want to be fighting them in an open field where they can use all their cavalry. Oops, sorry about that. I'm getting notifications from my other computer. But yeah, so we're basically fighting them at sea. and we force them to fight us on our own terms. And using this kind of asymmetric style of warfare, they aren't really able to respond to us the way they'd want to. I'm using all Nord units, and I'm a Nord commander. Let me show you what my unit breakdown is right now. So, if you'd look at that, it's Sea Raiders, and since I have the Veterans Respect perk, it's a perk that allows you to upgrade bandit units into actual normal troop trees. I can upgrade them into Nord Berserkers, which we have a lot of right now, but all of these Nord units are all Mariner units, which means they fight better at sea. Most units get debuffs when they fight on the water. These guys don't. So that means that we are able to fight a lot better on the water, and we use that to our advantage. So we sail faster, we fight better. As long as we don't get caught out on land, we can pretty much loot all these areas. And unless we are really out of position, we can take advantage of the fact that the Vlandians don't really have any good naval units. Currently, we're operating out of this hideout right here. This will be where we have our base, where we have our mines, and wherever we recruit our troops whenever we run low. And whenever we have too much stuff, and the bandits are too strong so we can't donate stuff to them, we sail back home to Hvalvik here. And this is where we sell off our stuff and recruit our noble units. So now I've explained the method, and maybe the stream title makes a little more sense now. Why don't we get into it? So, if I recall correctly, correct. Yep. So we've just sold off our stuff. And we just did a run up here. We got plenty of food to keep our boys supplied. And we're ready to go back down. I believe my party's full. That's where I last left off. Yes, so we recruited the newer guys. I think we recruited a couple of noble units, just because we were starting to get too many Nord Berserkers, because the Sea Raiders, they get upgraded into Berserkers, and they can't really get upgraded into anyone else as far as Nord troops are concerned. So we needed to go back to get some Huskarls up here, because these guys are like the most elite unit that the Nords have in their roster. These guys are kind of like the backbone of the fighting force that we're going to put forward. They need to hold the center. They're going to be the people that, you know, can take a crossbow bolt and they're not going to die immediately. It's not to say that Nord Berserkers aren't bad, especially since it seems like they've been buffed a little bit, but they're not going to be as hardy as a Huskarl. They'll be able to hit pretty hard still, but they're not going to be able to stay alive as long. So you need a good center of these guys. Especially because if I'm offloading Nord Berserkers to either staff them at my base or put them in the hordes that I have following me, whenever I recruit new fresh guys, you're going to want Huskarls here to kind of have the new guys back and be able to kind of hold things down so you don't suffer tons of casualties because you have a bunch of new guys charging people. We also have a little bit of archers, nothing crazy, but we do a lot of sea raids. And since we're doing a lot of sea raids against Vlandia, that means we see a lot of crossbowmen. We need somebody to be able to shoot back at them and be able to kind of keep their heads down on the hills and knock out some of them so that they're not just spraying tons of crossbow bolts down the field at us whenever we try to do any raids before we can get to them. So that's the idea. Let's get down to it. So I'm just looking over here at Vlandia. It looks like we're going to need... So we've been putting pressure here on Provend. As you can see, the settlement's rebelling. We don't know much about it at the moment because we're not close, but that'll change. Larnac is the main food provider for these people, so we're trying to starve these guys out. Roland produces hogs, which also provides some food, but Palisant and Larnac are going to be the main food providers for Provend. So what we want to do is we want to kind of keep all these villages constantly in the sacked stage. So you raid them and you keep them sacked. So you see these little smoke stacks above them. That means that the village is has been raided and it's not producing anything. It's burnt down. and I can't remember exactly how long it is. I think it's like a little over a month or something in game. But regardless, it'll stay that way for a while, and as it stays that way, it doesn't produce anything. These towns rely on food and resources that are sent to them from the different villages that are connected to them, right? And so if they run out of food, people start getting mad. There's a saying from a song I like by Rage Against the Machine. They say that hungry people don't stay hungry for long. And that's the truth in this case. So really interesting stuff about this game is I really like how the economics of it work out. You have small villages that produce goods, which then go to cities. Cities will buy up certain goods based off of the type of workshops that they have in there, and then they take those goods and they turn them into produced goods. But not all cities will be perfectly designed. So there's merchants that travel in between them and buy things that are cheap in certain places and sell them in other places where they are expensive. And that oftentimes meets the demand that the different workshops will have. Anyhow, we're starving out Providence, so it looks like our first place to go to here is going to be Larnac. So let's get down to it. There's a storm down here, so I might have to navigate around it. You don't want to necessarily sail through these storms, because storms will very much damage your ships. And if you have good ships, ships are very expensive to repair. Not that I can't really afford it, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. And when you're on the coast, you can sail a little bit into it. And it usually doesn't eat your ships up that much, I've found. But whenever you're in deep oceans, it's never a good sign. Now, we're going to need to be careful through here, because the Valandians, well, I think the Valandians are now at war with somebody. Let's see. Yeah, they're at war with Britannia, so they're not just at war with our clan. So a cool new addition to the game that they just added. You can see like this little anchor with a dock underneath it. They recently added the ability to do sea raids in this game, which is pretty sick. I think they're very thematic. They don't involve as much like tactics, like you can't min-max your ability to do sea raids, but I still think they're very cool. Let's see if they fight back. They're pretty weak, so they might not. Oh, they actually are going to fight back. I actually prefer when they fight back in this context because we get to actually take prisoners, which is more valuable to me than what they have in their village. This kind of life cycle stage of my army, these guys are all very elite. They're all pretty much maxed here. This is always the danger of raiding a Valandian village right here. It's because they just have a bunch of fucking peasants with crossbows. They can light you up. And as you can tell, this guy's a monster with a two-handed weapon. He can cleave through like 5 or 6 peasants with a single swing. At least at this point. Alright. Here we are at the post-battle screen. Most of you who are tuning in are probably going to know this. A lot of nerds in my community love Bannerlord, but just going to capture these prisoners, and it looks like I can upgrade one of my troops. Assuming nobody dies, I'm going to be able to upgrade. So these Hearthguard and these Shield Companions are in the same troop tree. They all become Huskarls. They're the noble troop, or the Nords. Every faction has a noble troop, and they're the only special tier 6 units that any faction can get. And they vary based off of the faction's specialty. We're just going to take all that loot. Now, I could quick loot this. Or like just leave this in a normal raid. But that gives the Valandians more time to get here. And these villages are so poor because I've been raiding the shit out of them. There's actually no point in doing the long form version of a raid. So what I should do is force them to give me goods. And then I can take a hostile action to finish the raiding. As you can see, the raiding is a lot closer to being done if you do it this way. You get less out of it, but I don't really care about getting a couple of extra gold or maybe some grain from these guys. Also looks like there's a Valandian lord trying to protect this area. There's a couple of them. So what we're going to do is try to break these guys up because they're running away, and then we hit one of them.
It's been a while.
Also, just checking, if there are any audio issues, if anything's too loud, please let me know. It's hard for me to tell what the balance is like. I can see it using bars and OBS, but I don't know if it's well balanced or not. Okay, so here we are in a naval battle. I have a bunch of big ships. And all my guys are pretty elite, so I don't really need to worry about tactically assigning these ships. Especially since we have more ships than they do. So, the Nords, they're good at sea, and they're good at boarding actions. And their ships are special because even though they don't get like artillery pieces and other things that make other factions strong, they get a lot more crew on their decks, and also their ships will have like a light draft, which means even their heavy ships, can do village raids, which is pretty nice. And as you can see, we're just going to tear these guys apart. Nord troops are much better at sea. They're all mariner troops. And the Valandians don't have anybody good in their army right now, so they really don't stand a chance. I'm not taking the ships, even though that's a pretty valuable thing to take, especially when you first start fighting on the ocean. So I'm going to adjust this audio for myself. A little loud. There we go. So we're going to try and catch a couple of these Valandian lords.
It's been a while.
That's just because I don't want them showing up later to try and hit me in the ass when I'm trying to raid some villages. I think they're going to get support from their friends. Wow. Too slow, huh?
Troops! Soldiers!
The War Sales DLC was the one that added boats to this game, and also the Nord faction. I think it started out a little bare bones, which is kind of part of the course for the developer of this game. But over time, they've kind of built out some extra stuff, and I think it's in a good place now. Again, this is a pushover of a fight. This sometimes happens with the battles on ships. You can see there's one guy left. They're all just like mosh pitting over there, and what's happening is they're all so smushed together that they can't hit each other. They just keep bumping into the wooden columns and also each other. Usually it resolves itself, but I might have to tell them to back off.
Troops!
You just tell them to skirmish, and then... So this is kind of like how this guy's made his living. He just goes and raids in Valandia. You know, personally, I have an intense hatred for Valandia almost anytime I play this game because they always become like a very powerful force that just spreads over the map. And so playing like this, I've been able to cripple them to where they've actually lost wars, like they've lost ground. As you can see, Sargot is a Valandian town, and so is Charis, and it was taken by the Western Empire, and they've also lost castles to the Battanians. Although it looks like the Battanians are in a little over their head right now. Yeah, because they're at war with both the Western Empire and Valandia. So that's fine. That means these guys are going to be busy trying to deal with the Battanians, which means I get to sail in here,
It's been a while.
capture a bunch of their lords, and throw some more guys in the slave pit. The only thing you gotta watch out when you're fighting Blandians on the sea is that, or not just the sea, or the rivers, you know, the water, is that they can sometimes have some slightly annoying artillery pieces on their boats. And that can kill a couple of your guys. And then we hit max prisoner count. We go back to our base. Again, I think this time I might take the big ship. Oh wait, that was dumb. I didn't actually take it. We're gonna go back here and we're gonna dump our prisoners off, because our prisoners are actually how we make our money. So again, this is the 4-berry mod. You can use hideouts and create hideouts. So I have a safe house here, and here you can see I have a lot of involuntary laborers, if you will, and I gotta dump them off so I can put them in the mines. And you know, he's got a crazy amount of them in here at this point, so it's printing a lot of profit, but you have to balance it out with the guys that you station in these hideouts. Otherwise, you'll see that they can start escaping. I'm just gonna set this to a 70% and then drop it here. But one moment, I will be right back. All right, I'm back. See, they usually don't have that much money here. I can sell like a couple things. And they're too strong, so I can't donate anything. And about halfway to the weight I can carry. So you have like the weight that you can carry on foot. But what I'm concerned with is the weight that I can carry on my boats. So I don't spend that much time on foot. Oh, and here are the child mechanics. Again, never be slipping whenever you invade Landia. Even the lowliest peasant has a crossbow and they can just end you if you're not taking the proper precautions. See? Look at that.
Split your skull! Die!
I don't really have to worry about blackmail, another thing from the Forbury mod, but this dude doesn't have a bunch of fiefs and lords that he has to keep loyal. We've brought the Vlandians pretty low at this point. You know, right now we're just fighting militia, but I mean, their armies tend to be a pretty short-staffed these days. As you can see, I'm not really getting much out of this, so that's why I'm doing the speed attacks here.
I'd wish you peace and prosperity, but of course I don't want that.
See, if you see a large amount of infantry in a Vlandian army, that's how you know they're weak. Most of their high-tier troops are cavalry or ranged.
Soldiers! Troops!
Yeah. I've been enjoying playing this game off and on. I probably have too many hours in it. Though, recent development in the life of Archie is that Archie got a new job. So, Archie will not be around as much, and that's also why he... I guess I should stop talking in purpose. It's also why I won't be posting videos as often. Maybe once every 3-4 months. Starting an apprenticeship to be an electrician. Got into a fancy union here in town. That's what's been going on. Let's see, we leveled up here. So, can't increase our stats, but we can increase our ability to increase our skills. So, each of these little pips here represents a focus point. The more focus points you have in a skill, the better you are at learning it, and the higher your cap is combined with your base skill here. So as we can see, Torvig is very strong, he's pretty cunning, and he's decently charming, but he's not very dexterous in terms of, like, you know, using ranged combat, and his endurance leaves a little bit to be desired, although he is quite athletic. I think... So I have people in my party who can already do medicine. I already have a scout. So I think I want to get that last point in Steward to make him better at leading people and managing his party. Right now I'm taking it easy. I could technically get large bands of sea raiders well equipped and together to follow me around, but it costs more food, and my armies are already strong enough to kind of handle what the Blandians are throwing at us right now. But if our company ever needs any extra men because Blandia starts getting too many men together, you'll see us get a larger force together. The plan is just to keep taking the fight to them and keeping them weak so that they'll get beat by other people. Good thing about the Berserkers is the Berserkers, and the Huskarls for that matter, have these throwing axes. And while they're not like, it's not like you have like true skirmishers, they're really good at mulching shields or dealing with people that might be at an inconvenient position. As you can see, this town's going into the dirt, and it's having a rebellion. So my playstyle now is going to be a lot different than when you have earlier equipment. I have a lot of very heavy armor, so I can afford to be a little more reckless with my two-handed weapons. Normally I wouldn't suggest even bothering to take your two-handed weapon out while you have archers like this that are going to target you, but I can take quite a few of those shots without going down. I'm okay with just repeatedly hitting them in the shield. This guy breaks shields like no one's business. You can see what I mean by the throwing axes. Look at all these axes in the ground. Alright, now we're reset. As you can see, the town's food stocks are all the way down at 0. And the loyalty and security are going through the floor. And the settlement is rebelling. Wonder how long it's going to take before they break out. It's already rebelled a couple of times, but with them being at war with the Battanians, I have a feeling that they will, it's going to cost them a little bit more if they want to send an army down to siege Provend. Yeah, like, look at that. Just pathetically small armies.
It looks like your sin.
Troops! Soldiers!
Yeah, Nord naval tactics are very simple, to put it nicely. It's run at the enemy and board them. There's no shooting or trying to outmaneuver them. You just run up next to them, tell your guys to charge, build F1, F3. These poor guys are running around with the most pathetic armies I've ever seen, and this is Baron Lucan. This isn't like a... I'm actually going to take this. I'm going to do a trip back to Volvik soon, getting full on stuff. I'm going to drop these prisoners off, then run back. I'm not even going to hit that guy. I don't have enough prisoner space to take him. Oh, and for those of you who care, I don't play on Bannerlord difficulty, I play on the normal difficulty, whatever the base difficulty is. I don't care for getting yeeted by a single crossbow shot from across the map and immediately falling over, and then all my soldiers just charging and not being able to lead them. So all these guys are good. Gonna leave. I don't need one more guy. I'm not gonna repair my ships because the only one that are damaged is the one I just took. I'm gonna set sail and head up to Volvik. So this world is like loosely supposed to be kind of set in like some sort of comparison to like, well, the year, you can literally see it here, 1097, although it starts earlier than that. There's a couple of different cultures. There's the Valandians, which, from what I've seen and their aesthetic and their naming structures, they seem to be mostly based off of the Normans. For those of you who don't know who the Normans are I guess in context, you ever heard of World War II, the beaches of Normandy? It's an area in France. They're Franks, and they were also the people that conquered England after the death of King Harold Hardrada, who was trying to reform the North Sea Empire. He died trying to fight the successor to the English king. And then with both the English and the Vikings weakened, William the Conqueror, a figure who you should know about if you've gone to school, was the one who ended up taking over England and kind of forming the modern, well, not like literally right then and there, but the modern culture of what we would come to know English people as. The Nords are pretty obvious. They're based off of the different Norse pagan cultures that existed during this time. This would be a little bit later. I don't think this would be the heyday of the Age of Vikings, but you would still see them. So this would be Iceland, so to speak. But yeah, the Nords here, I'm going to set so you can see the Nords here are based off of the Norse cultures. So that would be Svithjod, which would later become known as the Kingdom of Sweden. There'd be the Denmark. There'd be Denmark, which is the Danes, and then there would be Norway, which were the Norwegians, and also Iceland. These guys, the blue here, these are called the Sturgians. The Sturgians are based off of kind of like Russo-Scandinavian cultures. So there was a lot of interweaving between those cultures in the East, because there were a lot of like Vikings that would go fight in the East and over in like the different areas of the Rus. So they're kind of like a representative of that. And over here you have the Kuzate, and the Kuzate are an example of the Mongolian cultures. They're based off of like the Mongols who came west. So they're supposed to be from all the way out here in the steppes, and they started invading the Empire. The Empire is supposed to kind of be the Roman Empire, but it also has, because of like the time frame that it's based off of, it also takes cultural and aesthetic notes from like the Byzantine Empire, which was this kind of like successor empire to the Romans, because you had the split from west to east, and then eventually the Western Roman Empire fell, and then the Byzantines stuck around for a while, and then they got cornholed by the Ottomans, if I remember correctly. So yeah, they're kind of supposed to be Byzantine / Romans. They have 3 different factions. They were supposed to be previously the rulers of this entire continent, but they got they're in decline, and now they're kind of like fighting over the remnants. These are the Azerai. They're based off of Arabian cultures. Very loosely, like they don't really have like a specific Arabian culture. They just represent Arabian cultures, which is very vague because there's a lot of different Arabian cultures, but they're just kind of like basic, you know, I guess you could say if you mix like a little bit of Persian with the different Bedouin tribes and stuff, like the different Arabic Bedouin tribes, they take some inspiration from that, and like maybe a little bit of like Syria because of Damascus. But yeah, The Blandians, I've come to hate them. They are super annoying whenever you try to run a kingdom, because they have a ton of villages and cities, and if you just let them do their thing, they will death spiral and they will snowball and they will destroy you. See if they have anything good for sale. Yeah, not really. Okay, so we traded all that. We don't really need to pick up any more guys. Inventory's clear, party's good. Older ships, yep. Alright, we're good to head back. As you can see, Valandia is still burning, so we're probably gonna go a little bit further down the river if none of their villages recover by the time we get there. Yeah, this guy's rolling in money because we've got those like those mines going, and so many, like a ridiculous amount of just slaves stuffed into that mine. The dude's making a ton of money. It's close to what you would make as of like as the ruler of a kingdom. Oh, it's unfortunate.
I'd wish you people.
Soldiers! Troops! Charge!
One second. Alright, my apologies. I had some gentleman over to fix a light fixture I had. It just finished up, so it looks good. So we still got a good bit of cargo space. I'm thinking we're gonna just start burning some of these villages down here. Might even do a long raid just to chill. Yeah, they're not even fighting back, man. But I'm actually getting a little bit of gold from it. They still at war? Yeah, they are. I'm wondering, because that'll determine what I should expect on how many people might try to show up to defend here. But yeah, so I've always been wanting to test in this game just how effective raiding can actually be done if it's consistent. It seems to be good at getting cities to rebel. Although, to be fair, I made the bandits a lot stronger, which with this mod, because I've been feeding them a bunch of stuff, that drives up, like, or drives down security and loyalty. So maybe that isn't exactly a good representation for vanilla, but it does weaken cities, and it does weaken lords' capabilities to recruit. I think on its own, it can't really win you a war, but if you catch somebody who is trying to fight a big war, if you have a detachment of people who just go through and burn their villages down, it hinders the Lord's abilities to recruit troops as much. But there is a problem with that, and the problem is that
It's been a while.
the AI does cheat a little bit. And there's good reasons why, but they get soldiers without having to necessarily recruit them when they first spawn in.
Troops! Soldiers!
But they do, it still does weaken them if you keep villages down, but you have to be consistent, you have to be relentless. It seems to work. It seems to actually economically hurt them.
Soldiers! Give them hell!
As you can see, we have a pretty distinct advantage on the water. And this is a pretty chill way to kind of... take your enemies down in this game. You know, when you're playing the Nords, I found that the Nords as a faction are pretty weak as far as, like... I don't mean, like, their units and stuff. I mean, on the map. They tend not to do that well. But if you're playing a Nord, you should know that playing to your strength is important. You need to be fighting at sea. You need to be taking advantage of your ability to sail faster and fight better on the ocean than other people. Other people are going to get a lot more debuffs, and their troops are going to be a lot less comprehensive on the ocean than yours are. And you can really use that to your advantage. And if you do that, you'll be able to kind of like do this kind of style of fighting where you kind of just run amok and do massive damage to them, and if they want to try and stop you, they can come try and stop you, but generally you're going to be able to force them into a situation where if they want to stop you, they're going to have to fight you on the water. The Batanion's asking me to join as a vassal. I'd have to say, I don't know who the most popular faction is. If I had to guess, it'd be the Nords because, you know, Vikings, everyone loves Vikings. But I think the most fun playstyle I've ever had is Battanion, actually. Because they use a lot of skirmishers. So they have bowmen and they have like javelin men. So most of your fighting is gonna be oh damn, that's repaired already? Okay. Is gonna be it's gonna be like skirmishing tactics where you like do splits and you have like archers and setting up a kill box and you bait them in with javelin men who then move off to a different direction so you can expose backs and weaken shields, that kind of stuff. I think overall this is a very fun game, but you also get what you give. You know, if you just tell your boys to charge all the time and don't really put much thinking into it, it's not going to be that engaging of a game. It'll still be fun, but when you learn how to use your troops and you learn how to use your tactics... Oh, see the fire over there? We finally got somebody with an artillery piece, so they're shooting it at our boat there. Guy off of the launcher. Yeah, it looks like we finally lost a guy in the combat. Thinking we're about full on prisoners yet. About time to make the run.
It's been a...
And here we're just cleaning up the lords that are dumb enough to patrol in the river.
Soldiers! Troops!
That's unfortunate. Looks like they don't have any artillery pieces on that, so they're about to get their ass eaten. I'm gonna stay back here just because I don't want to clog everything up with the ships.
Soldiers!
As you can see, the AI isn't exactly the smartest.
Troops! Troops! Soldiers! Charge!
And this guy's gotten really scary with his two-handed weapons. It's because he does so much damage with them now with his perks that he just absolutely just cleaves through. He can easily kill 2, 3, even 4 guys sometimes with a single swing. But yeah, now we're full, so we need to drop the prisoners off. If you try to hold more than what you can when prisoners are concerned, they'll just start escaping, so it's a waste of time. I'm guessing I'm getting pretty close to having to drop more guys off. As you see, the slider here adjusts like banditry versus, you know, what we get out of it. I actually think I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Set this to 90%, 85. Okay, we're going to set it to there because the max you're going to get is the 10 from the small farm. I need to drop some more food in here, but luckily I've been burning villages, so dropping more food off isn't going to hurt. Drop some hogs and some sheep off. Yeah, they got plenty of food now. Gonna repair our ships. They have to trade. Sell-offs. Much of my crap as I can. I'm ordering everything by cheapest so that I can unload the most weight. I lose 34, or not lose, but there's 34 gold that they can't pay me. Not much about it. Where does that leave us? Still have quite a bit of room, so we're gonna go to the cove, we're gonna set sail, and we're gonna go burn Larnac down. This time I just think we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, see who comes and tries to stop us. Gotta go up here to these places. We gotta burn them down. You always want to burn the food villages down first. So you see these little emblems next to them? They tell you what they produce. This is a grapes villages. This is a grapes village, so they're going to produce grapes. That village produces grain. That produces hogs, and that produces whale oil, and that one produces horses. So we want to attack the ones that feed the people in the towns first, because you can see their food stocks are going up. So we need to change that. Oh my, they're actually going to fight back. I don't like the auto-resolve battles because oftentimes you just unnecessarily lose men. So... You see during a naval raid here, your ships all pull up and they kind of drop guys off in sequence. Now kind of hop off the boats. Get going. The last guy is always that guy over there. Not the one right there, but the one up top. They're right there next to that tree. You can barely see him now, he ran off. They're gonna have to go get his ass after they get everyone else. See, now they're gonna go chase that guy down. He's all the way out there. Looks like they're getting a decent amount of guys together. I would hit these guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this, I'm gonna flash raid this village over here, because Provin's getting food, and if these other two villages are down, the only one it's getting food from is the one that produces hogs. This has got to be one of my favorite helmets in the game. This is why it's important to have some archers, because they kind of just, they thin out. They don't get rid of them, but they thin out some of the crossbowmen that you're going to run into that are going to be on those ledges and also up there. And I'm going to stay back here so that you don't just get absolutely pelted. Let me tell you, is any sort of high armor, like heavy infantry, or even for that matter, like, wait, what am I saying here? Cavalry factions, right? They're going to be picked apart by crossbows, because crossbows just do so much damage. They get through your armor really well. So whenever you're fighting Blandians, who tend to be the guys with the crossbows, although the Imperials also have some crossbowmen, the thing that's special about Blandians is even their militia that guard towns have crossbows, and that shit will rip. Even if you have high tier troops, they can just, you know, if they spam enough crossbows at you, they can rip some of your troops. And like, you know, this doesn't mean you're gonna lose. What it does mean is you're gonna lose guys. You can lose pretty, like, good units, like pretty good soldiers that you've invested a lot of money and time in, right? And that attrition kind of ticks up over time, and you end up having to leave, go back, so that you can recruit more, right? And fresh recruits are normally how you get caught out. When you got a hardened veteran army, it's usually hard for people to mess with you. But whenever you're on a new batch of recruits trying to get them leveled up, that's when you're kind of vulnerable to getting overwhelmed. You know, like right now I'm in the mature stage of my forces, like they're all pretty high level. But if I get into a big fight where I lose quite a few guys, you know, I'm probably going to win that fight, but then I got to go recruit some fresh guys, and fresh recruits they're kind of a vulnerability until you get them leveled up. So you got to weigh, you know, how much a fight's worth to you, and if you want to take that big fight, are you ready to lose a bunch of guys? Yeah, look at this shit. Look at all these crossbow bolts I'm gonna eat. If I keep my ward up and to the left. I say up and to the right. I meant up and to the left. Yeah, look at how poor these villages are, man. They can't even produce anything. There we go. Now they're losing their food again. And we still got quite a bit of cargo space. Still got quite a bit of space for prisoners, so... always do a little trip to Morocco. Guys, reset. That's Darther, yeah. The big parties like that are usually going to be the kings. And this is a possible big fight. If I catch him out on the ocean, I get his ass. Okay, yeah, he's just shutting out over there. Ooh. That looks like a lot of prisoners to me. Yeah, bring that ass over here, boy. It's actually going to be a big fight, though.
It's been a while.
This is actually going to be a sizable fight.
Troops! Soldiers!
From what I can tell, he's got some pretty good, well, not pretty good, but as far as Blandians are concerned, pretty good units to fight on the ocean with. I didn't bother to count how many Mariner units he has, so the Blandians really only have one type of Mariner unit, which is a crossbowman, so they rely on dudes with crossbows on the ocean. You want Mariner units because units with the Mariner tag don't get a debuff when they fight on the ocean. All other units do, which is why the Nords are so good, because every single unit they have is a Mariner unit. Combine that with the buffs you can get from upgrading your character who leads the party, and you have a very deadly naval army. In the money. That's also the way you really get the most out of a two-hander. You wrap them around the back and you just start swinging in the rear. We didn't really lose anyone, so it's good. Again, we're not taking these ships, they'll just slow us down. So this is what Blandian towns that haven't just been ransacked for shit look like. They look like over 100 militia, just ridiculous. This is why the Blandians are a problem. Everyone else has like normal numbers, and then you fight the Blandians and you're just fighting like endless hordes of like peasants with crossbows. It's ridiculous. Now like this force will be able to handle that pretty easily, but like, you know, when an army goes on campaign, it adds up over time. And the Blandians have so many villages, like, so many little towns and stuff. Look at all those guys up there on that hill, bro.
Die, you bastard!
And this time I bet we lost some people. Yeah, see, like, look, there's a berserker down. No one died. Well, okay, never mind. We only lost one guy. But he probably took a crossbow bolt to the back or something. And we're full on prisoners. It's gonna be time to go back. Again, I'm not gonna bother attacking these guys. Just because I don't have room for the prisoners, it'd just be a waste. And see, this is what you can do. You can outmaneuver them by using the ocean. You know, and if they want to try and keep up with you, they have to fight on the ocean to meet you. So Derthert the king, he's trying to come over here to help. I've already burned the village down, and I'm going back to drop off all my slaves and do it all over again over here. Right? So they're it's an interesting style of playing the game, and I think after giving the Nords some more time, I think this is some variation of how you would do this, although this is a bit different because I'm using the foreberry mod and kind of getting an economy off the prisoner taking. Okay, so by the description, this town is pretty poor, so I'm gonna force them to give me goods. Just to speed up the raiding process, because I care more about burning the village down than getting a bunch of good loot, because there won't be much good loot. Cool little trick I found is if you're up on the front of like a Viking boat like that, you kind of put your shield off to the side and then use the front of the boat as cover. And then you run up holding it up into the right. And eventually you get past a little point and then you can hold it straight. Break their shields. Yeah, these guys only had 16 grain to give out. They're poor as hell. That's another thing. If you keep raiding villages and burning them down over time, they lose prosperity as time goes on, right? And when they do that, they get less troops to recruit from them, they produce less goods, and the area as a whole suffers. I'm going to do a little bit of slightly inland raiding. Actually get to see me deploy troops for once.
Infantry!
So it's not gonna be that much of a advanced setup here. So we're gonna tell
Infantry charge!
the infantry to charge. They're probably gonna meet somewhere around where that rock is right there.
Archers!
So I'm gonna set these guys
Move!
out right there.
Archers!
Just maybe a little bit further up, maybe a little bit like right there.
Move!
And I'll let them fight this out. It's not gonna be that long of a fight.
Footmen! Archers! Forward!
He was not shooting. There we go. So again, we're forcing them to give us goods first and then raiding the village, because raiding will actually finish burning it down. But I don't care if you do a long raid, you get more resources out of it, right? But you get, like, at this point, I really don't care about the couple of extra resources, because I get most of my money from prisoner farming and all that kind of stuff. So I care more about just burning the village down quicker. Check to make sure there's no upgrades for any of our boys. Yeah, okay. Ooh, and they're not gonna resist. It's gonna go down pretty quick. And see, look, Durthar's coming here to try and help. Oh no, he's going to Talavel Castle. I don't know. Maybe he's getting ready for a fight. I'm also gonna go burn this one down. And see, with these lightning raids, they can't respond quick enough. Then we just get out of here. If we catch anyone out, like this,
It's been a while.
and then they have to fight on the water and it's over.
Troops! Troops!
And this has been the kind of the kind of tactic that I've used with this campaign against Vlandia. You know, Vlandia excels in war as normal on these like between kingdoms on this map, because they can just get so many troops onto the fucking field that they can just overrun you, right?
Soldiers!
But if you fight in a kind of way where they're on the defensive and they don't really have anything to attack, that's the strength. So Vlandia, in a way, is actually weaker to individual little clans than they are to fighting big kingdoms, in my opinion. Because they can't counter siege you. You just fight on your terms. So you play like a Nord who can go around on boats really well. They're fast, so that you're not going to get caught out, and you have a bunch of good troops who can fight on the ocean. And you just cripple their economy. And that seems the best way to bring Blandia down, in my opinion. There are other people who are a lot better at this game who do it in a different way, but I've always found that fighting Blandia head-to-head is something that can be done, of course, but it is mind-numbingly annoying, because they just send stack after stack after stack after stack of people after you. Like, I've never seen Blandia not snowball in this game. And this campaign was like a try at stopping them from doing that. What did I sell them too much of? It was the horses, wasn't it? Still can't donate anything to it. How am I doing? I'm not at 10K. Still got a lot of shit. Well, let's see what we can find. Larnak's back up. So that guy that I just showed you is the leader of my my archers, my ranged units. So I'm giving him some buffs. That. Settlement is still rebelling. Been rebelling for a long time now. Ugh. Running out of spots to burn down. Guess we're just gonna patrol for Vlandian leadership. Nothing here. Maybe we'll get a couple cheeky raids off up here. Poor man. And while their villages are down and Provin's burning, we just sail around and
Troops! Soldiers!
get the lads, any lords that are chilling out on the ocean trying to patrol the coast. Make them pay the hood tax.
Attack!
Wow, okay. I think I'm going to take these ships and do another run back to Volvic. Sell all this nice stuff off. Make some extra money. And then after that, I think I'm probably going to call it. It's about 4:30, so gotta go to the gym later. All that kind of stuff, especially since I'm getting ready for this apprenticeship. I want to try and maintain a good shape. Make sure that I'm not huffing and puffing and dying whenever I'm on the work site. But as you can see here, you can make a good bit of money by selling ships, right? Like 13 grand, that's nothing to laugh at. It may seem like something to laugh at with how much money I have now, but like ordinarily, that's a good amount of money. And then that'll also pay for the repairs that you need to your ships. Almost all this weight's fucking grain. Oh wait. They're actually just running out of money. There's also dude's wife. She's a demon, bro. Yeah, that's odd. Don't really have much to buy here. Now let's see something. Maybe if I go into town. It's a Blandian Wanderer. I'm good. So I just need something to buy. Why don't we buy this? Equip that. on her, because right now she just has a spear, and spears are good in theory, and if you know how to use them like as a player, they're good in the game, but the AI does not know how to use spears properly. They're kind of a shitty weapon to give them. This will be better because she can cut with it too. Now we can dump more stuff. Sell off this copious amount of grain I have. And normally I would put those guys back in the slave pits. Actually, I will. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the port. I'm gonna throw these prisoners I have, drop them off, and we'll call it. Holy. This woman's having all sorts of children. She's 36 years old, she's still having kids, bro. Crazy. Sorry about that rattling sound I'm sure you hear. I keep slapping the microphone by accident. It's when I do this. Yep, and this will be a good point to save it, because we'll be ready for another round. Just driving Provend into the dirt. And, let me see if I can show you this. Sometimes it crashes, so let me go ahead and save. This modder did really good work on a lot of the things that he put together. It's actually a pretty big area. And each of these types of bases look different depending upon which faction you build them with. So this is the Sea Raider one, but there's also the Forest Bandits, the Mountain Bandits, the Desert Bandits, and the Steppe Bandits. All of them are going to have a different base that looks completely different. And it changes over time as it levels up and also has more people put into it. So as you can see, there's tons of people working in the quarries over here, and you can see all the guards. Most of the guards are Nord Berserkers because they're the final upgraded version of the Sea Raider units. Although you can see some Sea Raiders in here from before I got the perk that allowed you to upgrade bandits to higher than the Sea Raiders. To basically allow you to upgrade bandits into normal faction troop trees. You need a perk for that. It's pretty cool. They have like these areas up here. And you go down here and they have like a cool little... They have a big beach out there with ships on it. You go through here. A cool little cove. Eventually this comes out to the beach on the other side. Yeah, it's cool. Alright, I know I already saved it, but I'm going to do it again because I'm paranoid. But alright, everyone. Anyone who tuned in, thanks for coming along. I just felt like doing this because I wanted to test out my new microphone and make sure I had everything working for if I ever wanted to use OBS for any type of recording. Usually I use Audacity, but sometimes I use OBS for screen grabs and also audio from time to time, but not as common. I'll try to do some of these off and on in the future, but I'm going to be pretty busy. But anyways, I'll catch everyone around in the next millennia when I do this. And for any of you wondering when the next video is going to come out, I'm working on it. Got the script. I wouldn't say done, but it's being compiled, and it'll be out. I don't know. I don't want to say this month. It really depends on what this new work schedule looks like, but it is in the works. So, and for those of you that bothered to come see, I'll let you in on what it's going to be about. It's going to be about angels. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about running angels. And we're going to talk about solars, we're going to talk about planetars, and we're going to talk about Deva. So that's what it'll be about. But anyways, catch everyone around. And until next time, this has been your boy Archie. And remember to keep your enemies close and to keep your idiots closer.